narrow path through tangled green, where the brambles grow between, arching over wild and free, leading somewhere you can't see. Morning light cuts through the thorns, and a soft jazz melody forms from somewhere past the garden's end, around the path's long gentle bend. Blackberries heavy on the vine, dark and sweet as old red wine. Spider webs catch drops of dew in the early morning blue. A piano somewhere plays alone in the house beyond the stone, drifting out through open glass into the morning's quiet mass. Walk the bramble path with me, where the jazz moves soft and free. Nothing sharp about this place, just the slow, unhurried pace. Let the thorns catch at your sleeve, let the morning help you breathe. Down the bramble path we go, through the music's gentle flow. Robins perch on every side, in the thicket deep and wide. One by one they lift their song to carry the morning along. The jazz below and birds above, weaving something like love through the green and tangled air of the bramble path so fair. By the afternoon the path glows in the sun's warm aftermath. Shadows shift and patterns change through the bramble's gentle range. Still the jazz keeps floating through, old and warm and somehow new, round the bends and through the green of the prettiest path you've seen. Walk the bramble path with me, where the jazz moves soft and free. Nothing sharp about this place, just the slow and hurried pace. Let the thorns catch at your sleeve, let the morning help you breathe. Down the bramble path we go, through the music's gentle flow. The bramble path winds on and on, long after the morning's gone, and the jazz still hums its tune under the fading afternoon. Water tumbling stone on stone, the fountain sings its morning tone. Moss green edges, copper rim, overflowing soft and slim. A sparrow lands and drinks its fill, while the morning air is still. From the open parlor door, jazz comes drifting to the fore. Cobblestone still dark with night, slowly warming in the light. The fountain keeps its ancient song as the morning moves along. A trumpet note lifts on the breeze through the dripping garden trees, circling round the basin wide, where the water lilies hide. Morning at the fountain's edge, beyond the lavender and hedge, where the water never stops and the jazz just gently drops into every quiet space, filling up this garden place. Morning at the fountain song, where you've always belonged. Mid-morning butterflies come to rest with half-closed eyes on the rim where water clings. In the arc of dripping rings, the jazz grows warmer, fuller now, like the sun upon the brow of the garden in full light. Everything's somehow right. Afternoon brings lengthened shade across the stone and colonnade. The fountain still performs its art with the same unhurried heart. A clarinet winds through the air, around the fountain everywhere, until the water and the note are one thing in the same soft throat. Morning at the fountain's edge, beyond the lavender and hedge, where the water never stops and the jazz just gently drops into every quiet space, filling up this garden place. Morning at the fountain song, where you've always belonged. The fountain plays through dusk and night, long after the last of the light, and the jazz still echoes near for anyone who cares to hear. Boxwood birds and spiral towers in the garden's topiary hours, clips so careful, shaped with care, green geometry in the air. A peacock stands in perfect form, still and proud through sun and storm. And from somewhere past the hedge, jazz comes softly to the edge. The gardener has long since gone, but his shapes are living on, spheres and cones and arching gates, where the afternoon light waits. A piano wanders through the rows between each topiary that grows, weaving between the sculpted green of the finest garden scene. Walk through the topiary shade, where every shape was slowly made. Years of patience, years of care, jazz is drifting everywhere. Circle, spiral, cone and tower, each one holds a different hour. In the topiary garden's art, the jazz lives closest to the heart. By noon the shadows lean and lean across the perfectly kept green. The shapes cast patterns on the ground, while the jazz moves all around. A clarinet curls through the air, matching every topiary there, bending, turning, finding form in the soft jazz afternoon's norm. As the golden hour descends, every shadow stretches and bends over the topiary rows, where the clipped geometry glows. The jazz turns amber with the light, warm and mellow, still and right, holding all the shaped green art in its slow and steady heart. Walk through the topiary shade, where every shape was slowly made. Years of patience, years of care, jazz is drifting everywhere. Circle, spiral, cone and tower, each one holds a different hour. In the Topiary Garden's art, the jazz lives closest to the heart. The topiary stands through the years, through the sun and through the tears, and the jazz still gently plays through the shaped and sculpted days. Yellow fruit hangs heavy and bright in the lemon tree's afternoon light. Leaves so glossy, dark and green in the garden between. The scent of blossom, sharp and sweet, mixes with the summer heat. And from the open kitchen door, jazz spills softly on the floor. A wicker chair beside the tree, with a book and afternoon tea. Lemon slices in the glass, watching slow clouds as they pass. The piano carries something bright, like the yellow in the light, bouncing off the leaves and skin of each lemon sun-soaked thin. Lemon tree on a slow afternoon, jazz is warm as the afternoon moon. Nothing bitter in this air, just the sweet and golden there. Let the hours drip like rhyme, leave the sharper thoughts behind. Lemon tree and jazz entwined, something soft to ease the mind. Bees come circling low and slow around the branches' golden glow. Each one lingers, rises, dips on the blossom's pale pink tips. The jazz hums under every wing, like a hidden second string, connecting all the garden's parts to their slow and golden hearts. Evening drapes the lemon grove in that amber lighted wove. Shadows pool beneath the boughs in the quiet evening vows. Still the jazz comes warm and full, like the sun's last gentle pull on the lemons hanging there, golden in the cooling air. Lemon tree on a slow afternoon, jazz as warm as the afternoon moon. Nothing bitter in this air, just drip like rind, leave the sharper thoughts behind. Lemon tree and jazz entwined, something soft to ease the mind. The lemon tree at end of day holds the scent that will not fade, and the jazz still hums its song where the afternoon belongs. Glass and iron warm inside, where the tropical plants reside. Orchids hang in humid air, ferns unfurl without a care. Rain taps lightly on the pane, while the world outside is rain. But in here the light stays clear, and the jazz feels so near. Palm fronds brush the vaulted roof of this green and glass reproof against the cold and gray outside. Here the summer chose to hide. A warm piano fills the space between each flower's resting place, bouncing off the glass and leaves like a melody that breathes. In the Garden Conservatory, where the green tells every story. Rain outside but warm in here, jazz to fill the atmosphere. Every leaf a listening ear, every bloom a chandelier. In the Garden Conservatory, warm and green and full of glory. Passion flower climbs the wall, draping tendrils over all, while the jasmine fills the room with its dizzy evening bloom. The jazz curves around each vine, following the same design that the garden always knew, even in this world brand new. As the evening fogs the glass and the outdoor cold hours pass, in the conservatory's light everything feels warm and right. The piano settles low and deep, lulling every plant to sleep. And the rain outside the pane keeps its own soft jazz refrain. In the Garden Conservatory, where the green tells every story. Rain outside but warm in here, jazz to fill the atmosphere. Every leaf a listening ear, every bloom a chandelier. In the Garden Conservatory, warm and green and full of glory. The conservatory holds the night in its warm and glowing light, and the jazz still lingers on long after the rain has gone. A lane of blue hydrangea blooms fills the late June afternoon's rooms with a color soft as memory, blue as old-time reverie. The heads are heavy, bowed and round, above the path's old cobblestone ground. And from the garden's end somewhere, a trumpet note floats in the air. Rain comes often to this lane, filling up the flowers again, bluest after summer rain. When the sun returns again, a soft guitar picks out a tune underneath the early moon of the afternoon that stays blue through all its gentle days. Blue hydrangeas soft and wide, jazz and summer side by side, down the lane where cool air falls through the blue cathedral walls. Let the blue surround your eyes under soft midsummer skies. Blue hydrangea, jazz and rain, down that soft familiar lane. Bees move slow in humid air, between each heavy flower there, carrying the blue to every place. Along this cool and quiet space, the jazz slows down the same way too, in easy moving blue through the lane of afternoon under the soft climbing moon. The season starts to turn, the blue begins its slow return to purple, then to dusty gray. But still the jazz continues to play, and the lane holds all its light, even as the blooms grow slight. Something in the hydrangea stays blue beyond its blooming days. Blue hydrangeas soft and wide, jazz and summer side by side, down the lane where cool air falls through the blue cathedral walls. Let the blue surround your eyes under soft midsummer skies. Blue hydrangea, jazz and rain, down that soft familiar lane. The lane stays blue inside the mind long after summer falls behind, and the jazz still hums its tone for those who walk the lane alone. Beneath the arch of climbing roses, white as starch, the arbor frames a patch of sky as the afternoon drifts by. Vines entwine the wooden slats, a place for thoughts and garden chats. And from across the garden wide, jazz comes drifting warm inside. Sun falls through in broken light, dappled gold and green and white. The arbor seat holds every season with a quiet, patient reason. A soft guitar explores the air between the roses hanging there, finding notes in every gap of the climbing roses wrap. Sit beneath the arbor shade, where the climbing roses stay, all through spring and into summer. Jazz, the only gentle drummer. Let the vines grow overhead, let the jazz play in your head. Arbor seat and roses old, holding stories yet untold. Bumblebees investigate every bloom along the gate of the arbor's wooden frame, each one beautiful the same. The jazz moves through each open flower in the garden's golden hour, slowing everything to fit. This gentle afternoon we sit. When the evening starts to cool and the garden breaks each rule of the day and starts to dream under its own silver gleam, the arbor seat still holds its place in the soft and fading space, and the jazz winds down to rest with the roses on each breast. Sit beneath the arbor shade, where the climbing roses stayed, all through spring and into summer. Jazz, the only gentle drummer. Let the vines grow overhead, let the jazz play in your head. Arbor seat and roses old, holding stories yet untold. The arbor stands through every year, with the jazz always near, and the roses come again through the sun and through the rain. Beneath the fig trees' wide green spread, a patchwork shadow overhead. The leaves grow broad as open hands, shielding anyone who stands under their cool and quiet care. In the thick of midday air, from the garden's far stone wall, jazz comes drifting through it all. Figs hang heavy, dark and sweet in the shade below the heat. A lizard rests on sun-warmed stone in this garden's sleepy zone. The bass note hums like afternoons, low and round beneath the moon of the midday garden's dream. Nothing quite as soft as it seems. Fig tree shadow cool and deep, where the afternoon can sleep. Jazz comes slow through heavy air, drifting round without a care. In the shadow's speckled light, everything seems soft and right. Fig tree shadow dark and still, time slows down against its will. Someone left a straw hat there on the bench beneath the care of the fig trees, reaching arms full of its quiet charms. A muted trumpet speaks above, in that old familiar groove that belongs to afternoon, and the shadows cooling tune. As the shadows start to shift and the light begins to lift from the fig tree's canopy into golden reverie, the jazz stays warm within the shade of the choices someone made to plant this tree so long ago and let its shadow slowly grow. Fig tree shadow, cool and deep, where the afternoon can sleep. Jazz comes slow through heavy air, drifting round without a care. In the shadow's speckled light, everything seems soft and right. Fig tree shadow, dark and still, time slows down against its will. The fig tree holds its shadow long into the evening, into the song, and the jazz still fills the space beneath the fig tree's quiet grace. Wings like stained glass in the sun, in the garden one by one, they arrive on silent air, landing softly everywhere, on the buddleia and the sage, on every flower of every age, while the jazz comes floating through, orange, yellow, white and blue. A painted lady on the time keeps its own unhurried time, opening and closing slow in the warm and golden glow. The piano matches every wing, beat by gentle beat and thing by beautiful and quiet thing. In the soft jazz following, the butterfly garden sways through the warm and golden days, every wing a brushstroke bright in the afternoon's long light. Jazz and wings on the warm air, nothing here is sharp or bare. The butterfly garden knows how the softest music flows. Red admirals in pairs circle up the garden stairs of the air above the blooms, filling up the scented rooms. A clarinet curls soft behind, leaving all the noise behind of a world too fast to see. This wing-born reverie, late in the afternoon they rest on the flowers they love best, wings held flat against the sun, each one still, the day half done. The jazz slows to match their rest, soft and warm and dispossessed. of hurry, wait, or any care. Just the wings and jazz out there. The butterfly garden sways through the warm and golden days. Every wing a brushstroke bright. In the afternoon's long light, jazz and wings on the warm air. Nothing here is sharp or bare. The butterfly garden knows how the softest music flows. As evening takes the wings away, the garden holds the close of day, and the jazz hums on alone. For those who make this place their home. White and yellow, soft as dawn, the chamomile across the lawn, bobbing in the morning light, smelling of a gentle night. Apple sweet and soft and clean, the whitest flower ever seen. And from the cottage at the end, jazz comes round the morning bend. Kneel down to breathe them in, where the chamomile begins to fill the whole world with its scent of every peaceful afternoon spent. In the fields where nothing hurries, far from all the world's worries, the piano moves so soft and low among the chamomile's gentle glow. Chamomile fields in the morning air, jazz and blossoms everywhere. Every petal holds the sun, every note a gentle one. Let the scent carry you home, through the fields where bees still roam. Chamomile fields soft and wide, jazz and morning side by side. Baskets hung from every arm of those who come to this small farm to gather what the field has grown. In this sweet and peaceful zone, the jazz hums between the rows, where every chamomile head glows like a tiny lantern bright in the summer morning light. By the afternoon the heat makes the chamomile smell sweet, even stronger, warm and dry. Under the broad and open sky, the jazz turns lazy in the sun, slowing till the day is done, until the field and music are one soft and chamomile scented bar. Chamomile fields in the morning air, jazz and blossoms everywhere. Every petal holds the sun, every note a gentle one. Let the scent carry you home, through the fields where bees still roam. Chamomile fields soft and wide, jazz and morning side by side. The chamomile will come again after summer, after rain, and the jazz will still be there, soft and sweet upon the air. rosemary in the kitchen garden free. Thyme that spills across the path in the morning's gentle aftermath. Carrots push through garden soil beside the herbs that never spoil. And from the open kitchen frame, jazz comes drifting just the same. Basil tall and parsley bright, catching all the morning light. The gardener moves slow and sure among the beds so green and pure. A guitar string bends and sways like a stem in summer days, gentle, rooted, always there, filling up the kitchen air. In the kitchen garden's roses, every herb and green thing grows. Jazz as natural as the rain, falling soft on every lane of the beds where green things grow. In the morning's golden glow, kitchen garden, jazz and earth, always knowing what things are worth. Beans climb up the bamboo cane, reaching up and up again toward the sky above the gate, in no particular hurry or haste. The trumpet wanders through the rows where the kitchen garden grows, finding music in the green of the freshest garden scene. Baskets full of the garden's gentle pull on the hands that tended well through the heat and through the spell of the afternoon that stayed, while the jazz so softly played through the kitchen garden's heart, where the simplest life is art. In the kitchen garden's rose, every herb and green thing grows. Jazz as natural as the rain, falling soft on every lane of the beds where green things grow. In the morning's golden glow, kitchen garden, jazz and earth, always knowing what things are. The kitchen garden rests at night beneath the stars' soft silver light, and the jazz still hums its line through the rosemary and thyme. Primroses along the lane just after the early rain, yellow cream and palest pink at the morning's soft lit brink. Petals small and faces turned to the light the long night earned, and somewhere through the garden start, jazz begins to play its part. The hedgerows fill with primrose light in the early morning bright, each small bloom a cup of dew in the April's gentle blue. A piano finds the key of this small and quiet scene, soft as primrose, just as still, drifting over every lift into all that spring can bring. On the morning's quiet wing, primrose morning, pale and bright, between the dark and open light. Children stop to look and see the primroses grow wild and free along the verge and under oak, where the morning mist still spoke. A soft guitar picks out the tune of Primrose Morning, almost noon, holding all the early grace of this bright and blooming place. By the afternoon they close back to rest the way spring goes, waiting for the next bright day. When the morning comes to stay, the jazz winds down in the same way, gentle with the close of day, holding everything that grew in the morning's primrose dew. Primrose morning, fresh and new, jazz and flowers wet with dew. Every early hour a gift, every note a gentle lift into all that spring can bring. On the morning's quiet wing, primrose morning, pale and bright, between the dark and open light. The primroses will come again, with the spring and with the rain, and the jazz will meet them there, in the soft and morning air. A wooden bridge across the stream, in the garden like a dream. Moss edge planks and iron rail, where the garden meets the vale. Below the water runs its course, with a soft and quiet force. And across the bridge comes drifting jazz, so warm and spirit lifting. Cart moves slow in water green, in the shadowed space between the reeds that grow along the bank, where the willow branches thank the water for its steady flow, with their long and trailing show, while the piano keeps its beat over the bridge's wooden feet. Cross the garden bridge with me, where the stream runs soft and free. Jazz is carried on the air, over water everywhere. Every footstep on the wood, every note the way it should. Cross the garden bridge at noon, under the late spring moon. Water lily pads below, in the current's gentle flow, pink and white on green dark leaf, bringing every heart relief. The trumpet call rings out above, from the garden full of love, for this small and quiet place, where the stream sets its own pace. Standing still upon the bridge, looking out along the ridge of the water's winding way, through the garden evening's quiet day, the jazz hangs suspended here over the water, cool and clear, mixing with the stream below. In the afternoon's soft glow, cross the garden bridge with me, where the stream runs soft and free. Jazz is carried on the air, over water everywhere. Every footstep on the wood, every note the way it should. Cross the garden bridge at noon, under the late spring moon. The garden bridge stands still and true through every season, old and new, and the jazz still hums its song where the water flows along. Dahlia's bold in late summer sun, burning bright when the season's almost done. Deep magenta, gold and red, from the tallest garden bed, each one full and round and proud, speaking clear and speaking loud, while the jazz comes quieter still from across the garden hill. The dahlia holds its color long into autumn, into song, refusing all the fading days with its warm September blaze. A trumpet matches its deep red with a note that's fully said, rich and round and unafraid of all the quieter flowers that fade. Dahlia season, bold and bright, jazz that burns through afternoon light. Every petal deep and true, every note played all the way through. Let the color fill your eyes under the September skies. Dahlia season, rich and red, all the summer's final thread. Golden dahlias nod and sway in the late September day, standing tall above the rest, giving summer all their best. The jazz burns warm in the cool air, with a fullness beyond compare, like the dahlia's last bright stand before the winter takes the land. As the evenings start to bite, dahlias glow against the night, holding all their gathered sun for the moment nearly done. The jazz turns golden in the chill, long and slow and ringing still, through the dahlia beds at last, celebrating all that's past. Dahlia season, bold and bright, jazz that burns through afternoon light. Every petal deep and true, every note played all the way through. Let the color fill your eyes under the September skies. Dahlia season, rich and red, all the summer's final thread. The dahlias bow and frost arrives, but in the jazz the season lives, warm and golden, full and bright, even in the fading light. in the orchard's cool aftermath of a long and fruitful year. Heavy boughs on either side appear to make a green and dappled hall, where the light breaks through it all. And from somewhere at the path's far end, jazz comes round each gentle bend. Fallen apples in the grass, where the afternoon hours pass. Wasps among the sweetest cores of summer's last remaining stores. The bass moves low beneath the trees, like roots that hold through autumn's breeze. Deep and sure and never wrong in the orchard's patient song. Walk the orchard path with me, under every apple tree. Jazz and harvest in the air, something sweet beyond compare. Every step on fallen fruit, every note a quiet salute to the orchard's long-kept grace in this unhurried walking pace. Pear trees further down the way hold the gold of fading day in their slightly rounder form. After every summer storm, a soft guitar picks round the trees, carried on the autumn breeze, through the lane of fruit and bark, from the morning to the dark. When the last of harvest's in and the cooler days begin, still the orchard path remains. Through the mist and autumn rains, the jazz stays warm between the trees, in the damp and cooling breeze, holding what the summer gave with the patience of the brave. Walk the orchard path with me, under every apple tree. Jazz and harvest in the air, something sweet beyond compare. Every step on fallen fruit, every note a quiet salute to the orchard's long-kept grace and this unhurried walking pace. The orchard path leads home again, through the apples, through the rain, and the jazz still fills the lane with its soft and sweet refrain. Foxgloves tall in the evening light, standing pink against the night. Spotted throats and drooping bells, full of all the garden tells about the wild that lives within, the cultivated and the green. And as the daylight starts to fade, jazz drifts through the foxglove shade. Bumblebees sleep deep inside each drooping bell where they hide, for the night ahead of them. Under every purple hem, the piano echoes soft and slow in the foxglove's evening glow, gentle as a lullaby as the last light leaves the sky. Foxglove evening, tall and still, jazz descending from the hill, holds its own night in the fading garden light. Let the evening settle down on the foxglove's purple crown. Foxglove evening, soft and near, the jazz is all you need to hear. Against the old stone garden wall, the foxgloves catch the last light's fall. A warm and purple spotted row in the evening's ember glow. A muted trumpet finds the note of the soft and lilac throat of evening, pulling day to rest in the foxglove's gentle breast. Stars begin to show above in the dusk that gardens love. The foxgloves stand like sentinels, ringing all their sleeping bells. The jazz finds quiet in the air between each bloom that waits there for the morning to return and the light once more to burn. Foxglove evening, tall and still, jazz descending from the hill. Every bell holds its own night in the fading garden light. Let the evening settle down on the foxglove's purple crown. Foxglove evening, soft and near, the jazz is all you need to hear. The foxgloves bow their heads to sleep, all their quiet secrets keep, and the jazz hums through the night until the morning brings its light. Moss green steps laid up the slope, through the garden's quiet hope. Each stone worn smooth by passing years of morning walks and fading fears. The moss grows soft on every edge, beyond the lavender and hedge, and from the terrace at the top, jazz plays on without a stop. Slippery, soft in morning rain, the mossy steps hold their refrain of stillness, patience, slowness too. Wet with every kind of dew, a piano notes each careful tread of those who climb where moss is spread. Gentle, measured, always there in the cool and mossy air. Up the mossy steps we go, through the jazz and morning glow. Every step a different shade of the green that moss has made. Take it slow upon the stone, you were never here alone. Up the mossy steps and through to the garden's wider view. Ferns have seeded in the cracks between the mossy steps, old stacks of lichen-covered garden stone, each one weathered to the bone. A clarinet winds up and up like a vine that won't give up, following the steps steps ascent into the garden's green extent. At the top the garden spreads beyond the mossy steps and beds, a view across the whole domain. From the bench above the lane, the jazz feels fuller at the top, where you finally come to stop. And the mossy steps below are just the way you had to go. Up the mossy steps we go, through the jazz and morning glow. Every step a different shade of the green that moss has made. Take it slow upon the stone, you were never here alone. Up the mossy steps and through to the garden's wider view. The mossy steps will always lead to somewhere past the rush and need, and the jazz will wait at the top for everyone who chooses to stop. Marigolds burn along the border in their warm and vivid order, orange, gold, and amber bright, catching all the morning light. Their scent is sharp and ancient too, like something the garden always knew. And from the bench beneath the tree, jazz hums its old familiarity. The marigold has always known how to make the garden home, with its simple burning hue between the green and morning blue. A warm guitar picks out the chord of everything the sun has poured into each orange and golden face. Turn toward this sunlit garden space. Marigold light on a warm afternoon, jazz as bright as a harvest moon. Every petal holding fire, every note a slow desire to stay inside this golden hour, beneath the marigold's warm power. Marigold light, jazz and sun, holding on till day is done. Bees that hover, bees that land on each orange flower hand, among the marigolds at noon under the high midsummer moon. The jazz moves through the orange rose with the same warmth that the marigold knows, bright and simple, full and free in the afternoon's gold company. As the light begins to drop, the marigolds refuse to stop, glowing in the cooling air. With their gold beyond compare, the jazz turns amber with the hour, warm with the marigold's last power. Before the evening steals the gold and the garden day grows old. Marigold light on a warm afternoon, jazz as bright as a harvest moon. Every petal holding fire, every note a slow desire to stay inside this golden hour, beneath the marigold's warm power. Marigold marigold light, jazz and sun, holding on till day is done. The marigolds will come again, brighter after autumn rain, and the jazz will find them there, golden warm in the open air. A stone well at the garden's heart, where the garden and the old world part. Moss has claimed its ancient rim, where the water's cool and dim. A bucket hangs on a rusted chain, still and patient in the rain. And from across the garden's reach, jazz arrives without a speech. Ivy drapes the well-worn stone, making this old place its own. Year by year the vines have grown over everything it's known. The piano echoes low and round, like the well shaft's echoed sound, deep and patient, dark and true, full of something always new. At the garden well I stand, with the jazz on every hand, looking down into the dark, where the water keeps its mark of the earth and of the rain, of the seasons long refrain. At the garden well alone, with the jazz and with the stone. Wild flowers grow between the cracks of the well's old mossy stacks. Violets and ivy leave toad flax in the space where nothing lacks. A clarinet winds through the air, around the well with quiet care, circling the ancient stone, making this old place its home. As the afternoon light falls across the well's old stone walls, the shadow inside grows cool and long, and the water keeps its song deep beneath the garden ground, making its unhurried sound, and the jazz above it plays through the long and golden days. At the garden well I stand, with the jazz on every hand, looking down into the dark, where the water keeps its mark of the earth and of the rain, of the seasons long refrain. At the garden well alone, with the the jazz and with the storm. The garden well holds water still through every season, every chill, and the jazz still plays above, full of something like love. The garden lies beneath the frost in the winter that was almost lost to the warmth of other seasons past. But winter came and winter last, holding every stem in ice, making everything precise. And from somewhere warm inside, jazz comes wrapped in winter pride. Bare branches reach against the sky in the pale light passing by. The garden sleeps beneath the cold with its quiet stories old. A piano notes the frozen ground with a soft and searching sound, finding beauty in the bare of the winter garden air. Winter garden still and gray, jazz to warm the shortest day. Every branch a patient line, every note a winter sign, that the garden never dies, just rests beneath the winter skies. Winter garden, jazz and cold, still more beautiful than gold. Snowdrops push through frozen earth in the garden's winter birth of the first and bravest bloom, breaking through the cold and gloom. A soft guitar picks out the note of this small and hopeful quote from the garden still alive in the winter's cold archive. By the shortest day it turns, and the light imperceptibly returns to the winter garden's keep, waking it from its deep sleep. The jazz knows this turn is near, warmer now and drawing clear of a cold that had to come before the spring could begin to hum. Winter garden still and gray, jazz to warm the shortest day. Every branch a patient line, every note a winter sign, that the garden never dies, just rests beneath the winter skies. Winter garden, jazz and cold,